This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Knicks tonight will take on the Indiana Pacers on the second night of a back-to-back. The game is at 7 p.m. and it's in Indiana. This will be the third time this year that the Knicks have taken on the Indiana Pacers. And I got Steph, I got Josh, I got Andy. And we're going to go ahead and break this thing down, ladies and gentlemen. Steph, long time no see.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Definitely got to meet more often.
Right. How you feeling about tonight's game with Indiana?
You know what? I feel pretty good if what we did last night, we continue to do it in terms of ball movement and hitting shots. And I was thinking about back over the season and all of the things we talked about that was wrong with the team, but you can kind of sum it up to your best players not playing their best and teams not hitting their shots.
You can kind of sum it up to that. You know, it's amazing what happens when a team hits their shots. You know, just a couple guys make shots. It's amazing what happens. You know, Josh, what's going on, man?
What's going on, Sam, Steph, Andy, MBK fam out there? Always a pleasure to be on. Listen, like Queen said, you know, people make their shots. I think the Knicks are, you know, a different team. I didn't see anything they did schematically yesterday as far as plays that Thibodeau ran that he hasn't run before. Guys were open and they knocked their shots down. I think 47% from three, 47% from the field. Really good efficiency from the team, and they knocked their shots down, and everything looks good again. So hopefully the Knicks can continue that.
Yeah. The only thing that I saw different last night was with Julius Randle and the speed at which he made his decisions. Now, the question, you know, just like we were having the discussion earlier in the chat, Josh, as far as Randle making his decisions, did he make them quicker because guys were hitting shots, or did he make them quicker because he decided to make them quicker? You know what I mean? If guys weren't hitting shots, would he have said, okay, let me hold the ball and try to figure something out? You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
It's always hard to say. Andy, what's going on, man?
Yeah, what up, Sam? What up, Steph, Josh? Listen, it's a pleasure to be here. I missed a couple of shows because, you know, life caught off to me December. So, but I'm fresh after watching the game. Listen, it's such a pleasure watching the game when the Knicks are winning. It's like you're not picky, you're not looking at plays and stuff like that. They just, you know, ahead, and you're like, this is gonna be good. So, you know, I'm happy that we got that W. And listen, today's game versus the Pacers, they already placed names out there on the market. I'm guessing they might be one of the first teams that just, you know, hopped on the tank early in December. So I hope they go with it, and we're gonna get an easy W here.
So you're hoping that they're gonna decide?
Yeah, I'm
kind
of certain that
they're done.
Yeah, I'm kind of certain about that. Listen, the guys are not going to be tanking like the players, right? Straight up. But I think, you know, the Pacers organization, if they start to trade these guys, or, you know, rumors going to come up more often, I think, you know, at this point, you know, they're probably, you know, put an extinguish on it and told the players, listen, this is only, you know, rumors. But as soon as, you know, a couple of times that those names pop up, I think the players are going to, you know, dig into that and think, listen, if they don't want me here, I'm just going to play this kind of way and stuff like that. So,
well, Steph says she hopes we walk out of there with a couple of players.
Yeah.
I mean, we may not walk out of there with them tonight, but, you know, maybe we walk out with some negotiations and it's kind of a done deal. We'll see. Because they have some players that would fit if we find a way to add them to our nucleus that fit really, really well. It would elevate us to, you know, one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference. Miles Turner, Malcolm Brogdon are two guys that stick out to me right there. You bring Miles Turner and Malcolm Brogdon to this team without giving up Randle and RJ.
Yeah.
Derrick Rose, not keeping Derrick Rose.
That's it, Sam. We can't keep everybody.
I know.
You can only protect a few players.
You can only protect a few people.
Trade
right?
all them picks, Sam. All them picks. I don't care about them picks.
I know.
Those names
But,
pop up.
if, you can find a way to do that. That means Mitch is probably gone. Some other people gone. But if we find a way to get that done, those two guys added to this nucleus, man, we turn into something different, I think. But ladies and gentlemen, you're watching the Game Day pregame show. For your most up-to-date sports content and betting odds, make sure you check out the Game Day. The Knicks play at 7 o'clock tonight. So if you're going to do anything, you're going to make any bets, you need to make sure you get in there right now. Go to thegameday.com, get all the information that you need, and then win some money. All right? Then win yourself some money. And, I'll put my Cash App in the chat and all of that. So if you win some money, you can help a brother out for giving you the tip, telling you to go to thegameday.com. You know what I'm saying? The link is in the description of this video, ladies and gentlemen. That being said, let's go ahead and let's check out the injury report and all that kind of stuff. Tonight for the Knicks, again, everybody's there. Mitch did hurt his back last night a little bit when he fell. Right? And I was surprised that they didn't look at that a little more closely because he got clipped. I guess they decided right there that it was incidental contact, and Mitch didn't seem to be upset about it, but he landed right on his tailbone, and I know that hurts.
Oh, yeah. Pretty cool.
That hurts. Yeah. So hopefully he's going to be okay. He did come back last night and seemed to be fine, so I'm not too worried about it. For the Pacers, Justin Holiday, he's out due to health and safety protocols. TJ McConnell, he's always a gnat in our side. He's out due to a right wrist. He had surgery on his right wrist. And, of course, TJ Warren continues to be out. Right? So, they have a couple of their pieces, rotation pieces missing in TJ McConnell and Justin Holiday. I don't even want to mention TJ Warren because he hasn't been there. But, those two guys are rotational pieces, and they're going to be out. So they're going to be a little bit light on the bench side tonight. I'm expecting the bench to win this matchup. Looking at the starting lineups for the Knicks, Alec Burks, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and actually that should say Nerlens Noel, not Mitchell Robinson. All right, so I'll make sure I get that changed. And then for the Pacers, Malcolm Brogdon, Caris LeVert, Chris Duarte, Domantas Sabonis, and Miles Turner. So as I'm making this change, Steph, I'll begin with you. Any thoughts about, we'll start with Alec Burks and Malcolm Brogdon.
Well, with me, Sam?
Yeah.
Well, for the first time, like I was saying yesterday, it's not an automatic disadvantage when we talk about the point guard position, right? So I think that Alec Burke will be able to defend that position. I think he'll be able to score. Alec Burke is not a great playmaker. I don't see Brogdon as a great playmaker either. But the same thing with Murray, he may have an edge in just being able to run a team over Burks. But the way our offense is run, it's not really point guard centric anyway. So I kind of like the matchup. Alec Burke has been playing well, at least in terms of his counting stats.
Right. His counting stats. Exactly. And, it's is he getting more minutes as a starter, Alec Burks?
I think so. 37.
He's getting more minutes.
Last game, I think.
Okay.
So.
Okay. I was just wondering because, his stats have, really jumped significantly since he's been the starter. I don't know if it has to do with more minutes, more touches, the fact that he has the ball in his hands a lot more, or just the way that he's being used. I mean, when he was on the bench, he was averaging 9-10 points a game. Now he's up to 18. He's doubled his output being in that starting role. And that's big. Now, he could have been, he started to play anyway and really get into the groove of the game before he became the starter, which is one of the reasons why he probably got elevated to the starting lineup. But he does seem to be more effective in this starting role right now, I think.
Yeah.
Josh, what do you think about this matchup?
So I think Knicks are in better shape than they were with Kemba Walker playing the point guard against Malcolm Brogdon. Brogdon, obviously a really, really good defender. He can knock down the 3-ball. I think the last game we played the Pacers, Brogdon shot 20 shots that game, right? And he shot 7 3-pointers, right? I think he led the Pacers in scoring after that game. He had 22 points, what have you. So Brogdon can get hot. Being that Alec Burks is guarding him today, Burks obviously a bigger guy, so he can be able to defend that matchup a little bit better. I expect Burks to win this matchup, and I think the Knicks are going to be better for it because Brogdon can really get hot.
Yeah. All right. Andy?
Yeah, listen, I agree with both Steph and Josh. I think currently, I think it's a small sample that we have without Kemba, but I think at this point, Brogdon is a bigger guard, really methodical, fundamentally sound guy, and I think Burks matches up with those kind of point guards way better than Kemba does. So I think it might be at least better than Kemba versus Brogdon. If it's a win, it might be close, even pointing to Brogdon. But scoring wise, I'd rather have Burks on my team than Brogdon. Leadership wise, I think like floor general type plays. I think Brogdon would probably be better than Burks. But like Steph said, the offense of the Knicks is currently not point guard centric. So I think we're gonna be cool with that.
Yeah. Andy, I'll stick with you. Evan Fournier and Caris LeVert. Or do you see it being Evan Fournier guarding Caris LeVert, or is it going to be RJ who guards Caris LeVert? And if so, what do you think about that matchup?
Listen, I think it still might be Fournier versus LeVert, and maybe listen. This might be a switch on in every play because both of these matchups are really close. Fournier game wise is a little bit closer to Duarte, right? I think LeVert is more athletic and for us at least, with better matchup with RJ. But I think his first step it might be a little bit too fast for RJ. So, I think they're going to probably switch up every couple of plays on that matchup. But listen, this is going to be a hard matchup for Fournier because Fournier is in a slump, and he's in a slump for a couple of games now. I'm not counting one game that he showed up. But I really think that one of these games he's gonna, come up with a 30-point game versus someone at least, and it's gonna be time for him. I'm not gonna lie. 20 couple of games into the season, I was expecting him to be a little bit more consistent at this point of the season. A couple of first games, I understand,
right?
But at this point, after a quarter of the season, I think he should be, at least on his average game, and I think he's still below his career's average. So.
He is. He's below his career average in shot attempts as well. He's only taking like 11 shot attempts per game, and his field goal percentage is down. So maybe that's part of the reason why he's just, he's not being as aggressive, because, he's not shooting well. So maybe he feels like, let me back off a little bit. But I also think in order for him to get going, he probably needs to shoot the ball a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm happy because he's not trying, for me at least, because I'm that kind of person that I don't think that he needs a game of 20 couple of shots to break out. The first thing I hate about players is when they take unnecessary shots, and Fournier still at least 2 shots of his a game are kind of forced for me, for my taste. But we have guys that force way more shots, than Fournier.
Yeah. Josh, what do you think about this matchup? Excuse me.
Yeah, so Evan Fournier is in a slump right now, but it's just these games where Evan Fournier can get hot. You just start knocking down some shots, timely shots at that. You know what I'm saying? If he can get going with Julius Randle can get him the ball in his spots. He can be able to get hot. So I kind of don't know about Fournier. He's just been kind of hot and cold, like a lot of our players. So hopefully he can get it going tonight. I think he would match up better against Holiday. I mean, not Holiday.
Holiday's out.
I mean, not Holiday. Duarte. Sorry, I think he matches up better against Duarte, just because Duarte doesn't have the same quick step as Caris LeVert, and I think that's what the Knicks will do. I think from time to time they'll switch depending on who gets hot or whatever the case may be. But hopefully Evan Fournier can get it going. We're going to need that contribution from him tonight. If we want to win this ball game.
Yeah.
So,
Steph, do you agree about the defensive assignments that it should be Evan Fournier guarding Chris Duarte instead of Caris LeVert?
I would have it the other way around. I would have him guarding Duarte. I mean, LeVert is going to be a challenge for anybody. You know, because he's quicker. I'm okay with RJ guarding LeVert. I think RJ is a better defender than Fournier, though I do think Fournier has gotten better over the past four or five games in terms of his efforts, in terms of staying attached, fighting over screens, things of that sort. But RJ and let Fournier guard Duarte. But it'll be a challenge for RJ as well.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the way the matchups will go. I just brought the defensive assignments across the screen, and I have Alec Burks and Malcolm Brogdon, Evan Fournier guarding Chris Duarte, RJ Barrett guarding Caris LeVert, Julius Randle guarding Domantas Sabonis, and not Mitchell Robinson, but Nerlens Noel, I did it again, guarding Miles Turner. Right. Let's talk about, Steph, I'll begin with you, RJ Barrett and Caris LeVert, because both of those players have, in their matchups against each other so far in this series, have been pretty good. RJ Barrett, as a matter of fact, in this series so far, and remind you, the series is tied 1-1, RJ Barrett's been the leading scorer for the Knicks in this series.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, at 17.5 per game in this particular series. And Caris LeVert's averaged 19. Now, didn't Caris LeVert get hurt in the second game and go out?
Or he didn't play in the first game even, I think. Maybe that was the...
There was one game.
He just came back or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how many games he played, but he had 19 points in whichever game that he played against the Knicks. He had 19. RJ Barrett is averaging 17.5 so far in this matchup. You know, what do you think about this match? And matter of fact, let me read the stats out because here's one of my key matchups for tonight. So far, RJ Barrett versus Indiana this season is averaging 17.5 points, 5.5 rebounds, 2 assists. He's shooting 36.4% from the field. He's shooting 38.5% from three and 66.7% from the free throw line. Caris LeVert versus the Knicks is averaging 19 points, 2.5 rebounds, 4 assists. He's shooting 40.6% from the field, 12.5% from three, and 84.5% from the free throw line. What do you think about this matchup?
I think if Barrett has turned the corner, you know, if last night's game with him turning the corner, he can win this matchup. You know, he needs to be a bit more efficient though, in terms of his averages against Indiana. But I like him in this matchup if the three is falling for him. But it wasn't just that, Sim. If you remember, he was being aggressive going to the basket, albeit mostly on the left-hand side. But still, he was being really aggressive, finishing strong. So if we're going to get that RJ, where he's hitting his threes, he's going to the basket, he's finishing at the rim, I really like our chances, and I like him in this matchup.
Yeah.
Now, if he reverts back, like the clock that struck 12, and he reverts back, it's a different story.
Right. Josh, what do you think?
So, yeah, I mean, I understand the averages, whether it was 17 points or whatever, what have you, for RJ Barrett. But again, the first game was much better than the second game. The second game, I felt like RJ Barrett got outplayed just a little bit by Caris LeVert. The first game, it was a little bit different. It was the opposite, right? So, again, it's one of those matchups that can go either way. Obviously, we're going to need a consistent RJ Barrett. And I'm not talking about production. I'm not asking him to score 25, 30 points every night. But if he can at least be efficient, knock down a few three-pointers, you know, just be efficient from the field, be a threat offensively, I think he can win this matchup easily, in my opinion, right? But we just don't know what RJ we're going to get. So I'm still trying to figure out if this is going to be the real RJ this time. So I said the same thing after the Pelicans game, that this was the real deal. He's arrived, and he let us down for 11 games straight after that. So we got to see. Tonight is a big test for RJ Barrett. Can he continue on what he built on yesterday, or is it going to go back to being cold.
Right.
So we'll see.
Well, what I'll say is this. Last night's RJ wasn't the real RJ. Because he's not going to shoot 87% from the three-point line in this game. I mean, I guess he could, but it's probably not going to happen. So he's not going to shoot that well, and he may not shoot 55% from the field, right? So I'm hoping that the real RJ is somewhere around 46, 47% from the field and 38 to 40% from three. That's what I'm hoping the real RJ is, when it's all said and done. You know what I mean? So was last night's game the real RJ? No, but I know what you mean, at least about efficiency, right?
No, I mean, I'm not really concerned about production. Again, I mean, I don't expect him to be the kind of player to average 25. I don't expect him to be that, but I do expect him to at least, get, 17, 18 points per game on some good efficiency, knock down his 3-point shots when he's open, and, that's the RJ that we need right there.
Yeah. Okay. Andy, any thoughts on this matchup?
RJ made what 7 out of 8, right?
7 out of 8. He was 7 8, 7 from 8 last night.
So listen, I'm gonna take a drop off of RJ. He can make 4 out of 5, and I'm gonna take that. Listen, if the efficiency is gonna stick around that, he can miss 1 shot out of 5, and I'm gonna be cool with any day of the year. Listen, with that kind of efficiency, I just love players. If it doesn't matter which one, if it's good shots and they're going to make them. And for me, if they take good shots, the percentage are really, really higher. And, there are only few players in the whole NBA that have good percentages of, making bad shots.
Right.
So,
right.
And those threes that RJ took this last game in San Antonio, I think maybe one had a defender in front of him. The rest were like wide open.
Yeah. So he got some really good wide open shots last night. Some of them were off of broken plays. Some of them were from,
good passes,
good ball movement. Good ball movement passing. From Julius, not just from Julius Burks. Or Randle to Burks to RJ, or Randle to Rose to RJ, however it worked.
Hockey assist.
Yeah, the hockey assist for Julius and the assist for somebody else. So it really did work.
Just that, Sam. Somebody did an article that most of RJ's shots have been open. With at least 4 feet worth of room throughout the season, and he just hasn't been hitting them.
That's a lot of
last
space
night
worth
he
of
did
room too. That's a lot of space with 4 feet.
4 feet. But last night he hit them. So the team is generating good open shots for him. He just needs to knock them down.
Yeah, definitely. And then of course, I don't even know if this matchup here is the primary matchup, because these two players against each other this season, hasn't been the bee's knees. I don't know. That just came to my mind, But Julius Randle and Domantas Sabonis, this is usually what everyone says is the key matchup. But really, I mean, Randle against the Pacers is averaging 14.5 points so far this season, 12.5 rebounds, 4 assists. Shooting 35% from the field, shooting 12.5% from three, shooting 66.7% from the free throw line. And Sabonis, he's averaging 15.5 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, but he's shooting 52% from the field, 60% from three, and 50% from the free throw line so far in this matchup. Steph, what do you think about? I mean, do we get a better shooting night from Randle? I mean, 35% from the field and 12% from three. Now he's battling, no doubt about it. 12.5 rebounds. He's battling for his points. One of those 90s style type of games that the Knicks are playing against the Pacers. You expect more tonight, though?
Yes, I mean he has to shoot better. Sam, last year when he had that great season, I think he shot 41% from three. I'm not sure what he shot, from the 2-point line, but I'm pretty sure it was pretty efficient. We need that. So I mean, yes, He needs to take quicker shots in terms of how he's getting his shot, quicker shots, move the ball, make smart decisions, all of that. But he has to make shots. You can't be the leader of this team and shoot 12%. You just can't. You just can't. So, yeah, I'm expecting him to have a better shooting night, and I'm hoping for the rest of the season. Listen, he doesn't have to be 41% from three. Can you beat 38? Can you beat 37? You know? So, yeah, he has to be better in terms of his efficiency.
Yeah, without a doubt. Andy, I'm come to you, then I'll get the cornerstone, get his thoughts. Any thoughts on this matchup?
Oh, Sim, this is a hard matchup, because I like Sabonis as a player. But versus Randle, they battle it out. There's no easy way, for neither of these guys. They have always good games versus each other. I mean, like about the the battle and the effort. I think because they were fighting for that last All-Star spot. It was previous season or 2 seasons ago. I think that those guys have something like personal versus each other. So it's always a good matchup versus those guys. Listen, like Steph said, I hope if Randle, makes a couple of more shots, he's going to look way better. But for me, if Randle is going to play with effort and hustle, like I was talking with Steph, for me, that's a game changer. He doesn't even have to make that many shots. If he's going to play with effort and hustle, the rest of the team is going to follow him. And I think that's the way, that Sabonis plays. He tries everything on the court just to make his team better. And I think, for them, it works. They might have, a little bit more weapons, on the court. But I think, as currently the Knicks roster is built, I think we also have the weapons. They're just not clicking at this point.
Right. Okay. Cornerstone. I don't know if you're going to stay with us this time or you're going to jump off, but what's going on, man? What's up, man?
Salute to the chat. Salute to my boy Josh. Salute to Andy, the original Ninja P, because he's always messing with me, but on a sneak tip, but it's all good. Salute to Steph and salute to the one and only Mr. Sam. And I apologize because usually I use these earbuds that you always told me to get. They're not pairing with my phone for some reason, so that's the reason why I got off and tried to come back on. So that's what's going on.
You sound okay. You sound pretty good. You're good.
Sound pretty good? Okay.
Pretty good.
Fine.
Just
that's because of the Christmas sweater, Sim.
And now I gotta hear it.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts? Right now we're talking about Julius Randle and Domantas Sabonis right now.
Okay. I love the matchup. I've seen Sabonis get his off him, and I've seen Julius Randle get his off against him. So, but I think Julius is probably a little bit more efficient than Sabonis is, and I'm looking forward to the challenge tonight. I think.
You said Julius is more efficient?
I mean, when they're matched up against each other.
No, he's not.
No,
he's not. Julius Randle, in this matchup so far this series, Julius Randle shooting 35% from the field and 12% from the three-point line. Domantas Sabonis is shooting 52% from the field and 60% from the three-point line.
Okay.
Yeah. But let's take a look. I want to take a look at the team comparison. And, I got a couple of different comparisons to take a look at. Right? You got the overall comparison for the season, their matchup versus each other, and then the last 5 games for each team. So, first of all, we have the overall. The Knicks are averaging 107 points per game. The Pacers are averaging 107 points per game. Both teams average 45.7 rebounds. The Knicks average 21 assists. The Pacers average 23. Both teams average 7 steals. Both teams just about 6 blocks per game. Both teams just about 13 turnovers per game, right? When I say just about, I mean the Knicks are at 12.9. The Pacers are at 13.5, so that's about 13, right? The Knicks are shooting 44.3% from the field, while the Pacers are 45.8% from the field. The Knicks shoot 36.6% from the three-point line, while the Pacers are only shooting 32.8% from the three-point line. Both teams are at 77% shooting from the free throw line. This is on the season now. The Pacers win the point to paint on the season. They average 48. The Knicks average 43. Both teams about 14 second chance points. The Knicks average 11 fast break points, while the Pacers average 12.7 fast break points. For all intents and purposes, these, when you look at the season numbers, these teams are, evenly matched. And, the season series is even. Right? Although the Knicks are 12-12 and the Pacers are 10-16. So let's climb in and let's go a little bit deeper between the matchup with these two. When we look at the stats versus each other, versus the Pacers, the Knicks are averaging 95 points per game. They're shooting 42% from the field and 27% from three. They're averaging 22.5 assists, 46.5 rebounds, 11 turnovers, 6.5 steals, and 6.5 blocks. The Pacers against the Knicks, they average 97.5 points, 41%. They're shooting 42% from the field, 30% from three, 21 assists. They also average 46.5. Actually, their numbers are a little bit different, but they're still pretty much similar. All right. I got similar numbers, but they're a little bit different. But when you look at their last 5 games, the Knicks are averaging 108 points per game, shooting 46% from the field, 37% from three, 44 rebounds a game, and 22 assists. Their offensive rating is 114.8, and their defensive rating is 116. For the Pacers, they're averaging 106 points per game over the last 5 games. They're shooting 45% from the field, 28% from three. They're grabbing 42 rebounds, 23 assists. Their offensive rating is 110, and their defensive rating is 116. The Pacers are 1-4. The Knicks are 2-3. But for all intents and purposes, man, when you look at the numbers, these teams are pretty much evenly matched. Anything about these stats stand out to you, Andy?
Well, the stats look really similar if you think about it. So I think, from stats wise, it's probably how do you say it? It might be just the day of the game, right? I mean, like some players are going to have a day and they're just going to make shots and some are just not. Listen, the first game, Miles Turner was making those threes. The other game, he wasn't, right? So I don't think they can count on Miles Turner, for example, making that many threes. We could also match up with him a little bit better. I hope Tibbs is not going to risk him making 7 or 8 threes a game. So after, 2, he's going to try to, switch up the matchup or at least contest those threes and not make him, take open ones. But, it's a 5 versus 5 game, right? So any of those players can get hot. The same with our squad, right? And, like you said about the numbers, they're so similar that, it looks like it might be a one-possession game.
Yeah, it really might be a one-possession game. It's going to be a battle, and I think it's going to be a physical game, because they've already played each other twice this season. You know what I mean?
I think we come out with flying colors because TJ McConnell is not playing. We don't have a pest to worry about.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But I think this is going to be a drag them out type of basketball game. And there goes Kev. I know that was Kev. Could be nobody else but Kev. Josh, any thoughts about those? Anything stand out with those numbers?
Yeah, I mean, when you look at them at face value, obviously, both teams look pretty much evenly matched. But I think the difference now in this particular game is the Knicks bench. I think the Knicks bench is the big thing. I think in the previous games, the Knicks bench was what was keeping them in those games. Probably won them the last game that we played against the Pacers. But now, and mind you, the Knicks bench is number 1 scoring bench in the NBA right now. The number 1 at 39 points per game. So with Burks now coming in that starting lineup, hopefully he gives the starting lineup a little bit of a spark. Obviously the ball is starting to move a little bit better now. And hopefully the starters can be able to score a little bit more points. And I think if that happens, I don't think this is much of a game. I'm not taking anything away from Indiana. Obviously we're going to play them tough. They play us tough. The Randle Sabonis matchup is always a doozy. However, I think that was the difference in those first 2 games. Our bench was pretty much keeping us in it and helping us win those games. And now we have someone in the starting lineup who's a better fit than Kemba Walker at this point. So hopefully that's the difference, and I think the Knicks can definitely win by double digits.
Okay.
Josh, let me ask you a question, because you mentioned the bench. Do you think we lost a little bit with with Alex Burks going to the being the starter now?
We did
From the
last
bench?
night.
Yes.
Listen, if the Knicks
are number 1 bench in the NBA.
If the Knicks played the way they did,
even with him being the starter.
Listen, Kev,
still get bench production.
Kev, if the Knicks played the way that they did last night, I think the bench had 47 points. 47 points from the bench. Now, you got to remember, okay, the dynamics is going to change a little bit. Alec Burks was only averaging 9 points coming off the bench. Yeah. Right? He was averaging 9 points coming off the bench. Now he's playing a different role. He's averaging 18. Mitchell Robinson's now gone to the bench. Right.
And that's the dynamic that you're talking about with because that was the way I know it was last night, but the way he played last night was probably the best that I've seen him play for this year. I was really, really impressed with Mitchell Robinson. And I think he was like a key factor on why the bench was like really successful last night.
Yeah, and I think, the bench can have similar production. I'm going to come to Andy in just a second. When I did the Knicks versus Pacers stats, I accidentally had the Pacers stats with the Knicks, right?
Really?
For the rebounds, the turnovers, the steals, and the blocks. But still, it's so similar. I just updated it. It's so similar. It's basically the same stats. Versus each other, the Knicks are average.
But you made a mistake.
And I fixed it.
It's surprising.
And I fixed it.
No,
right? The Knicks are averaging 46 rebounds. The Pacers 46.5. 11 turnovers for the Knicks, 11 turnovers for the Pacers. 4 steals for the Knicks, 6.5 steals for the Pacers. 5.5 blocks for the Knicks, 6.5 blocks for the Pacers. I could have not changed it, and the numbers are still so similar. It's basically the same. I should have lied to everybody, Kev, and said that I did it just to show you how similar they actually are. You know what I mean? I do that like when I'm in practice or, times when I do trainings, and I make a mistake. Sometimes I say, well, you know what? I'll just do it this way and make it look like I didn't make a mistake. But,
let me ask you.
Hold on, let me get the Andy.
Okay,
come back.
Yep.
Yeah, I wanted to point out something to Kevin because I don't know if he's watching the games or only the box scores. Kev, 1-for-1, it's Alec Burks, not Alex. I'm getting teased, man. This is the 3rd season or the 2nd season that this guy is playing on the Knicks, and you can get the name right. That's one thing. And talking about the bench production, we still play Burks with the bench. We subbed in Rose for Fournier, and we subbed in quickly for RJ, and Burks just moved to the 3 position. So he was still playing with the bench. So, our bench kind of had the same lineup. So
Okay, Mr. Smarty Pants. I got a question for you. I was going to give it to Sim, but I'm a question for you. With the way Mitchell Robinson rebounded last night on the offensive end, do you think he can repeat that going forward?
We'll see. He's playing against another team's bench. We'll see. So I think that's going to make a difference. Right. Let me get you some keys to the game because I got to get out of here within the next 2 minutes so I can get to my own game. Yeah,
because I'm going to come through the screen and hit Andy in the head.
My keys to the game. Number 1, don't get too high after last night. Right? Don't feel like you got it figured out yet. You still got to put the work in. Come into this game with the mindset that you're still in a slump and you got to find your way out of it. I think the Knicks should go a little bit deeper in the rotation, given that it's, you played last night in San Antonio, you traveled to Indiana. You got, I don't know. I guess you got a little bit of a time difference there as well. So I think the Knicks should maybe go a little bit deeper in the rotation. I doubt that Tom Thibodeau will. I think they've got to continue to focus on their rotations and closeouts. be ready to play a physical basketball game, right? But keep their composure. Keep their composure. The game might be physical, so you got to keep your composure. Have a good third quarter, which they did last night. Execute in the fourth quarter, which they did last night. If they do those things, I think we get a chance to win. Andy, anything you want to add to that quickly? Because I'm going to get up out of here after this.
Yes, and I think, as always, I say to point out the rebounding battle. Those guys have both Sabonis and, Turner, which can be dangerous for our, boards. I hope we get out. And like Kev said, I hope Mitch can repeat that play because, the big guys from Indiana on the bench, Bitadze, I don't think he's more of a perimeter guy because, he's taking threes. He's not playing under the rim. So I hope, both, teams combined, the Knicks are going to edge out the Pacers on the boards. Yeah. That's going to be huge for us.
Yeah, I think so. So far, they've been kind of even, but yeah, that'd be huge. Steph?
Yeah, I think what we need to add is between RJ, Fournier, and Randle, two of those guys have to show up and play at the level that we're accustomed to. If we can get that with the bench, and some center defense between Noel and Mitch, will be fine.
Yeah, and with TJ McConnell and Justin Holiday out, I think the Knicks got to make sure that the bench got to win. The bench needs to win. Josh?
Right.
Yeah, I agree with Steph. I just add, Julius Randle, continue to make quick decisions, like you said, Sim, and also RJ Barrett, just continue your shooting. Just be confident, be aggressive, and I think we can be able to score some points. And I think we can put this team away by more than 10 points, in my opinion.
All right. Cornerstone.
Yeah. Just want to say that Randle played a really great game last night. I haven't seen that out of Randle, the way he was so efficient. That was really cool. Yeah. He was focused. Yeah, very focused. But
right.
Okay.
I know we're going backwards. We're going backwards. We're going back to the future.
Okay. All right. You said yesterday that this was the game,
talking about yesterday.
And Toronto game was the games that we think we could take. We took last night, so let's get this one. I agree with everybody here on the panel. I think that we should win this by more than 10 points if we duplicate what we did last night. And I think we can, and I'm looking for a fun victory. It's just a shame that it's on the road because, we've been great on the road, just not at home. Yeah. I wish we could duplicate this at home.
I'll take them wherever we can get them, man.
Yes,
ladies
sir.
and gentlemen, this has been the Game Day pregame show. Please make sure you check the link in the description for your most up-to-date sports content and betting odds. Get it in before 7 o'clock tonight. I'm out, ladies and gentlemen. Be peaceful. Spread love.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.